Hey, hello there everyone, and Dr. Shaunna here, and tonight we're making some cabbage soup. So we've had a fun Saturday, pretty cash, and people were working away at their different things, so we're having a late dinner, and I thought I would flip it on live because I haven't done these. I'm going to be doing more and more of these. So we're making a cabbage soup because next week for Meal Cure, the superfood of the week is going to be cabbage. So check out my YouTube channel at Dr. Shaunna for I guess this coming Thursday, and under Superfood Spotlight you'll see all of the great health benefits of cabbage. So let's get into this. So I've got my pot on the stove, and the first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to add some avocado oil. I'm going to put my element on here, and I like to work with avocado oil or coconut oil, and you can get some great avocado oil at Costco for a really great price. It can be pretty pricey elsewhere, but anytime I'm using heat, now if I'm doing salad dressings or no heat cooking, then I am definitely using olive oil. But for this, we're going to use some avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point than olive oil. Next, every great recipe should start with garlic and onions, so that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to see if we can film in there in the pot a little bit, and just say hi, or and tell me where you're seeing from, and hopefully you can see that lovely red onion there. And I'm going to just turn up my heat here. There we go. And I'm also going to add in 3 cloves of garlic. You can never have too much garlic. So we'll get that going, and we'll start that off with being pretty tender, but it gives a nice flavorful base. I like to just mince it up in there. So we'll mince 3 of those cloves with our onion. And then I'm going to add some celery. Celery is a great accompaniment for any soups. And you could even make almost a stew out of this if you wanted to just cut back on the fluid. Hopefully you'll be able to hear me beyond the sizzle. And then we're going to add in some great spices. So you really can't go wrong with this. Add it in and play with the aromas. Use your favorites. So I've got 3 cloves of minced garlic in there. And we've got 1 red onion. There we go, and it's going nicely. We'll turn the heat down just a little. And celery is another vegetable that takes a little bit, so we want to soften that up. So I'm going to add 1 of those in now. So that's 1 rib of celery. To that, I'm going to add ½ a teaspoon of dried basil. Often I'll use fresh basil, and I didn't happen to pick it up, so we're going to just use dried, so ½ a teaspoon of dried. I am going to garnish this with fresh parsley once we're done. And then I'm also going to add ½ a teaspoon of Italian seasoning as well, because that's going to give it a nice aroma. And I like to add these dry spices in first, as long as we are, simmering and stirring. It helps to really get that flavor in there nicely. Now in the meantime, just in case anyone's joining, it's hard to get the camera on the pot and me at the same time. So hi Anna and Leslie, good to see you guys. I'm not sure who else is there. Just shout out, say hi, tell me if you, hi Anna, tell me if you like cabbage or not. It kind of comes with my heritage, so I'm used to that. And so we're getting that nice and tender. You can see that we've got 1 red onion, 1 rib of celery, ½ a teaspoon of basil, and ½ a teaspoon of Italian seasoning. Now I'm going to add in heirloom carrots. So I got 1 purple carrot and 1 orange carrot in there. Hi Mary. In it goes. So we're going to start to soften these up as well. And then I'm going to add a can of tomato paste. So you want to make sure that you're getting like a BPA-free can, ideally, if you can. That really helps when we're dealing with these tomatoes. And that's just going to give it a little bit of a flavorful punch and a little bit of liquid as well. So just showing you a little bit in there. Okay. Next, I'm going to add, I've got 10 grape tomatoes, those little tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, and I've cut them into eight pieces. So I quartered them and then cut them one more time. And so they're nice little pieces that will be good in a soup. So in it goes. Now, usually when I'm doing a cabbage soup, I will often do like a borscht, which I did during either during the beet week when we were celebrating beets, or I did it when we were doing, I think for Valentine's I had that in there as well, a beet borscht. So, but this time I'm doing a different kind of cabbage. All right, so now I think we're getting ready for some liquid here. So you can see it's getting quite thick, the flavors, it's starting to smell really great. So I'm going to add in, now you can just use water, but I'm going to use no sodium added, no salt added vegetable broth, keeping this nice and vegetarian for my first meal of the week always in Meal Cure is vegetarian, at least, oftentimes 3 are. Now I'm going to add in, this is 4 cups here, I'm going to add in 8 because I have a big crew. If you're doing this and you're just doing it for 3 people or 2 people, you could just stick with just 4 cups would be fine. But we're going to make a big batch of soup up. I figure if you're going to the trouble of making soup, you might as well make a big batch because it keeps well and you can have it tomorrow for lunch. And in goes. There we go. And now it's starting to look more like soup. So you can see that the can of tomato paste has sort of taken over the color of this, which is totally fine. So if you wanted it to be more of a clear soup, you could either omit that or just add like a spoonful or something like that, but it's great for the taste. I also want to add in some salt and pepper. The way I measure this out, 1/8 of a teaspoon I've measured out is, for me, 10 rounds of this salt shaker. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 1/4 teaspoon for the pepper, I've worked out is 20 rounds. It's a good place to start, and I like to add my own salt so that I'm in control of how much is going in there. So I'll buy, for example, the vegetable broth without any added salt. So hi Linda, hi Darren, how's it going? I'm kneeling down here so that I can see you. It's hard to be in, short of hopping in the pot with it. That's kind of what we got to do. Okay, so we're making some cabbage soup. We got, just to recap, we've got 1 red onion. Set my timer off. We've got 1 red onion, 1 rib of celery, a purple carrot, an orange carrot. We've got 1/2 teaspoon of basil, 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning, some salt and pepper, olive oil initially to get the onion and the garlic going first off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to also add in, I'm always looking to see how can we get that protein in. So this is a can of lentils. So I've rinsed it, drained it, and we're going to add that in. That's going to give us about 8 grams of protein and 5 grams of fiber. So that's a nice little boost and still keeps us with a nice vegetarian meal. So we got that going there. And now, of course, the star of this show is going to be the cabbage because it's Cabbage Week. So I have 1/2 cup a half a head of cabbage, and I've just chopped it up right here, and that actually made, let's see, how much is that? About 6-7 cups of cabbage going in. So totally up to you how much you want, but that is the main focus here. This is, you could also name this, I haven't named it yet. That will depend once I've tasted it. I usually name it after I taste it. But this could actually be a detox soup as well. So lots of great vegetables in here. And we're gonna add that in. And as I say, check out the Superfood Spotlight video on my YouTube channel, because in that, about halfway through the week on Thursday, you'll be able to find out all of the great health benefits of cabbage and why you might want to include it in your diet. So there we go. And then the last thing to add in, I'm gonna rev up my heat a little bit because it's, we want it to get to a boil and then simmer. And we'll simmer it for about 10-20 minutes. So a great thing that I'm gonna add now is 1 leaf of kale. So I've got 1 big stem leaf of kale, and I just, not going after that. And I'm just chopped it up into little pieces of kale, and I'm gonna add that in for some nice color, a good nutrition punch. And they happen to have great organic kale on sale at the store today when I went to my local market. And actually I got to meet the manager of my local food market. I highly recommend you do that. He's really great at bringing in food that you want. So there's an organic black bean spaghetti that I like, and they didn't carry it, and now they do. I saw the shelves stocked with that. So get to know your local grocer, and sometimes they can bring in some great foods. So that's great. So we've got pretty much everything in there that we want. I think at the end, I'm gonna just see if you can see that. And let's see. I always wondered about this pot because it's got metal handles, and I was wondering about the wisdom of that since metal conducts heat. So, so we've got a really colorful display of lots of great veggies, lots of great cabbage in this soup. Now we're just going to put let's put 2 bay leaves on top of there, because I have them in my kitchen and they're great for soup. All right, so 2 bay leaves added to the top. Then we'll just put a lid on, we'll crank that heat up, and can you see that in there? I think you can. And perfect, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna bring it back up to me. And there we go. So we're just making like a quick and easy cabbage soup. Just throw in whatever you have. Of course, I'm doing this for my meal cure. It'll be one of our meals this week. So I always want to make sure that there's only 30 ingredients for the whole week beyond your staples. So I have to make sure I multi-purpose some of my ingredients throughout the week. But you can feel free to add any vegetables that you like in there. And I just thank y'all for tonight joining me in this late night cabbage detox soup. So, oh, there's Lana. Hi, Lana. And so definitely check out Meal Cure. If you're a Meal Cure member, you're going to see this recipe on Thursday, and you can find out all of the ingredients, and I often will change things. So I'll probably top this off with fresh parsley and Parmesan, but I'm going to taste it and I may tweak it. So the final version will be in Meal Cure. And if you're not sure what Meal Cure is, it's an online superfood meal planning service that I have that takes the stress and chaos out of what's for dinner and puts the fun, joy, ease, and most of all, of course, the health right back in. So if you like this video, feel free to like and share. And as I say, check out my YouTube channel. Lots of great videos over there. All right, have a great night, everyone. Be good for you.